Ever feel like, you're going for it, really trying to make things happen, and it's like you hit this wall.
Yeah.
Not a real one, but there's
Really?
this kind of invisible barrier.
Yeah.
Turns out we all have these sneaky things called limiting beliefs. Or like the brakes we don't realize we're slamming on.
Interesting.
So today, let's ditch those mental parking brakes and unlock a whole new level. Right.
Huh.
5 practical tips to dismantle those roadblocks. Coming right up.
It is interesting you should say that because I think a lot of times when we think about limitations, we think about things like, oh, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have the resource, whatever those resources are. But oftentimes, the most powerful limitations are the ones we place on ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. It's like we get in our own way before we even start, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So tip 1, if we're talking practical, where do we even begin to untangle this whole limiting belief thing?
Well, the first thing is you have to shine a light on them. Awareness is key.
Okay, shine a light. I like that. How do we do that?
So these are those thoughts, the ones that pop up like, I'm not good enough to, or I'll never be able to, that kind of thing. You have to your point, shine a light on them, really bring them into focus.
It's so true, right? They're like those default settings running in the background. We don't even question them.
Right.
But how do we know? Because sometimes it feels like, no, that's just how it is. That's reality.
And that's where step 2 comes in. You have to challenge those beliefs. You got to put them on trial. Ask yourself, what evidence do you really have that those limiting beliefs are true? Is it really fact, or is it just, this old story you've been telling yourself, rooted in fear, or maybe some assumptions from who knows when?
Ooh, I like this. We're playing detective with our own minds.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say we've identified these beliefs, we've challenged them. Then what? Do we just think positive and hope for the best?
You're on the right track. It's just a little more, shall we say, nuanced than that.
Okay, bring on the nuance.
This is where positive affirmations come in.
Here we go. Positive affirmations. Hit me.
Yeah, and I know it sounds a little, maybe a little woo-woo at first.
Maybe a little.
But the science behind it is really fascinating. It all comes down to neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
All right, break that down for me.
So your brain, it's not static.
Yeah.
It's constantly changing, rewiring itself based on our experiences and what we focus on.
Okay.
It's like, imagine your brain is like a garden.
Okay. I like where this is going.
Every thought you have, good or bad, it's like you're planting a seed. So negative thought, that's like planting weeds. But positive affirmations. Now, those are your flowers. Those are your fruit trees. And with time, with consistent, watering those seeds, you can literally change the landscape of your mind.
Okay, so we're planting a mental garden. I am totally here for this. But how do we get from rewiring our brains, all those flowers blooming, to actually taking action in the real world? Because that's where I get stuck, honestly, the doing.
Yeah, and that's a common sticking point for a lot of people. But here's the thing. Action is the antidote to fear. The more we act, the less power our fear has.
Okay, I feel that. So what's the secret? How do we break through that fear?
It doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing, right? Start small. What's the tiniest step you can take today to move towards that goal, towards silencing that negative voice?
Small steps, big changes. Got it. What about tip 5? What's the last thing we need to have in our arsenal for busting through those limiting beliefs?
This one's often overlooked, but it's huge. Your environment.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How so?
Think about it. The people you surround yourself with, the books you read, the shows you watch, even the stuff you scroll through online, it all influences you. So do a little audit. Are these influences fueling your growth, or are they kind of dragging you down? We've got to be very intentional about curating a positive and supportive environment.
So true. Surround yourself with the good stuff. It makes a world of difference. Well, there you have it. 5 powerful tools to dismantle those limiting beliefs. So now I'm curious, what's one limiting belief you're ready to challenge? And what's that tiny first step? Maybe it's writing it down. Maybe it's telling a friend. What can you do today? Because here's the thing. Breaking free, it's not about these huge leaps. It's about the courage to start.
It is, yeah. That's how you make a change.
No matter how small, right?
Yeah.
Just start.